Arrogance and knowledge had a love child. They named him Confusion. How ironic. I want to know, how do you know? How do you know that you know? What does pure innocent awareness do when it's treated as an autonomous being? Well, look around. It tends to assume it's an autonomous being. And even in our languages, it's right there. The base assumption that there is someone who can be confused. But how do you know that? Here we seem to be in this miraculous, chaotic soup of expression. Here, there are infinite ingredients. Anything can be in the everything soup. Nothing makes sense here. Existential knowing is innocent and ignorant. Knowing can taste like comfort food for a time. And then taste buds and palates can become more refined. The ingredient of openness can change the flavor of the whole soup. It can taste more like unknowing. Delicious. There is a field of resonance that doesn't include concepts of right and wrong, should and should not, correct or incorrect. Would you be afraid to go there? It's a place of humility. Anything goes. Already. This place is always here. It's the filter of knowing that seems to veil it. The veil is also allowed, and when it's seen through, it is obliterated from all of history. Oh, there was never a veil. The need to know can seem like a fog, thick with belief that this can be known. Another assumption. Innocent and already allowed. Where is the one doing all of this shit? I bet you can't find them outside of a thought. Notice the chaos. what thoughts it seems to provoke, what feelings may arise. This is what seems to be. No amount of mental negotiation can change it. Notice that noticing happens as it does. Thoughts are as real as they seem to be. What could this mean? You tell me. What has been purchased with the currency of knowing? What does it really give you? Because it isn't existential understanding. Some popcorn and a show? I see nothing wrong with that. Preferences are free to play without the belief in right and wrong, without the belief in self. Longing has always been without an entity to long. Of course, it can be felt, but notice. Is there a making that feeling into an image of grass that's greener on the other side? A thought of the future isn't real. It can be fantasy, play, avoidance of intense sensations, of vulnerability, impractical delusion. The future is only helpful while writing a grocery list. Mind is best as a slave. That's the preference here. Not a projection of agency. Does this animal own choice? Or is choice another abstract pacifier? Just notice. If you prefer the impersonal view, look with brave openness. Be willing to feel the fragile nature of this finite appearance. Be not afraid. Feel fully what it's like to be naked. A masterpiece, subject to the elements. An open and radical honesty will annihilate all precious, comforting delusions that you hold dear. And impersonal, pristine awareness remains. Awareness that already allows all. Just notice and see that there is no such thing as lack, and no reason at all that any person needs to recognize this. There are no rules against playing in delusion. Obviously, this is chaos. Infinitely, wildly more free than any concept of freedom. All is this already. This is wholeness, however it may appear. Whatever savage images may loom, grasping and averting are allowed to come and get warm by the fire, to eat their fill and dream dreams of spring. What you want doesn't matter. It never has. Isn't that wonderful? The universe doesn't revolve around you. Thank God. What more could you want? This is a ride. Enjoy it. Or not. Nothing says terror or psychological suffering shouldn't be here. Right? Unless it does. Right? See the simplicity? No conclusions needed. And conclusions are this too. Always welcome. We don't have a word for this, so we sometimes call it love. It feels like love. Brutal love. Is there really a need to know? Or is that a comforting belief? This is the freedom for the seeming process, for the beauty of evolution, growth, and maturity. The hero's journey. This is what seems to interest the so-called absolute. The absolute is whole and complete, as it appears as every part of the process. You wouldn't shame a small child for not understanding complex adult issues. But we tend to shame ourselves for not understanding existential truths. Many assumptions are believed to create the expression of seeking for truth. and they all missed the mark. Assumptions like, I can understand. I am becoming something better. I am. I can. And I will. But those are nothing but thoughts. And nothing but a thought believed says it shouldn't be this way. Where is the problem without a thought? As awareness of the nature of thoughts dawns, they become more and more transparent. Thoughts are random, conditioned, fleeting sounds and symbols, ephemeral, regurgitated from a sick society. The mind is an automaton of survival, a practical tool for this animal, and always impersonal, ever arising, even without identification with thoughts. Twice removed reflections of what they symbolize. This can be noticed. There are no rules against the opacity of thoughts, ever. But they can become more transparent, lighter, meaningless. Thoughts never tell the absolute truth. They are wildly free expressions, already, of the relative, limited, finite truth, which is the absolute. This is the union of that which could never actually be separate. The pristine, meaningless, masculine emptiness with the sensational, innocent aliveness of the feminine. This can frolic with guilt and shame, terror and lack, precisely because it isn't those things. You see? This is the nature of liberation. Already. It's always a surprise, spontaneously arising from nothing. This would have it no other way. Just notice. You never needed the stories. They are the cherry on top. You can handle fully feeling this intense, alive roller coaster. seeming to be born and seeming to die. This is a drop in the bucket for you. Dust in the wind of your being. You are Callie. As well as the puny human she eats alive. And the fierce sensation of what these are like. You are anarchy and order. You are.